Welcome to Wasatch Weekends. For this Sunday, November 19th edition, I'm your host, Ben Roof, and we've got a bunch of great advice for you on today's show, whether you're looking to participate in new health insurance during the open enrollment period, looking to get the most out of your charitable donations, or trying to figure out the best way to set yourself up for financial success in the future. We've got some incredible advice for all of those things on today's show. But before we get there, let's go with a quick local announcement. The Park City local government is working on some changes to the municipal code that's going to help incentivize affordable housing and reduce reliance on cars. So our city government is looking for all of the feedback that they can get from our local community through engageparkcity.org, and all the way up until 5 p.m. on November 22nd, you can participate in providing all of the feedback at that location. Again, that's engageparkcity.org. Now, let's take a quick look at the weather before we get on with the rest of today's show.
This weather report is brought to you by Sun and Ski Sports, your new mountain sports headquarters.
Welcome back to the show. It is November, so we are in that open enrollment period where everybody who's looking to either renew or change their health insurance has a short window to do so. And up next, we've got CMS sharing some of their best advice on the changes to Medicare for this enrollment period.
Now, we are in the giving season, but it is also the season of open enrollment for healthcare. Joining me today is the Regional Administrator for the Centers for Medicare and Medicaid, Shannon Hills. How are you? Shannon, it's so important to have you here because 65 million people in America use Medicare and Medicaid, but their health may change throughout the year, and they really have one time in the year to make that change. So why is open enrollment important for Medicaid and Medicare users?
It's so important. As you mentioned, prescription drugs coverage can change. Health plan options can change. The needs of the individual with Medicare can change. And so it is so important that they review their health plan and prescription drug plans annually, do side-by-side comparisons between their current options, other options that are available. They may be able to have some cost savings, or there may just be plans that better meet their needs. So it's really important that individuals review their current coverage and make the best choices for themselves moving forward.
Now, you mentioned healthcare change or health status changes in individuals, but what is the new Medicare program that people should know about that has been changed?
So there's some exciting changes that have come about through recent legislation called the Inflation Reduction Act. So now individuals that take insulin, the price of that insulin is now capped at $35 a month for a 1-month supply of insulin. So we know that that is significant cost savings for individuals with Medicare. As well, there are certain recommended vaccines for individuals with Medicare. Think of vaccines like the shingles that we know is very expensive. That is now available at no cost share for individuals with Medicare. And beginning in 2024, just around the corner, individuals with high out-of-pocket prescription drug cost, once they reach the catastrophic limit, those additional copays, co-insurance, all available at no additional cost. That is for individuals enrolled in Medicare Part D. So those are some of the really significant changes and cost savings that are now available for people with Medicare.
That's incredible. I know, especially with the rise of prices on everyday living, this is a huge break for people that are on the Medicare plan. So tell me, when does open enrollment end?
Open enrollment ends December 7th. And so it's really important that people with Medicare go online to medicare.gov. When they're online, they can scroll down to the section that says Find Plans Now. This is where they can do side-by-side comparisons and really look to see what is available and make the appropriate determination for themselves. They can also call 1-800-Medicare. Lines are open 24 hours a day, even on weekends. And lastly, in local communities, Medicare works with the State Health Insurance Program, or SHIP. And so they can visit shiphelp.org, look for a local SHIP office in their area, make an appointment, and they may even be able to speak with someone in person to review their current coverage, look at additional plan options. We want individuals to feel really confident in the prescription drug and health plan options that they have moving forward.
Speaking of prescription drugs, is help available to pay for those for those drug costs?
Help is available. There's a program called Extra Help for individuals who make $22,000 or less, or couples earning $30,000 or less. Help is available paying deductibles, co-insurance, other costs that we know are things that individuals have to pay for. To find out if individuals are eligible for this extra help, they would go to the Social Security website. That's ssa.gov/extra help. Or they can call 1-800-772-1213.
Well, Shannon, thank you so much for sharing all of that information. Now, it is very important. Open enrollment ends December 7th. So if you are on the Medicare or Medicaid plan, make sure that you head over there. Shannon, do you have one more piece of advice to share with our users that may be on the Medicare or Medicaid plan?
Absolutely. The most important piece of advice is go to medicare.gov or call 1-800-Medicare. These are the official sources of information for Medicare. We know this time of year, there is lots of information that is being shared with individuals. We want them to start here first. Medicare.gov, 1-800-Medicare, the official sources for unbiased information on the Medicare program.
Well, I hope that the Medicaid participants, if they call that phone number, they get somebody just as helpful as you. So we appreciate all that you're doing to spread awareness and to make sure people are not missing that deadline. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Kimberly. Have a wonderful day.
Same to you. Now stay tuned. We have a bit.
Welcome back. As we get into the holiday season, charity is something that is often at the front of our minds, and Direct Relief is up next, and they've got some great advice on how to get the most out of our charitable donations this holiday season.
Very exciting as we enter into the holiday season. It's often a time for nonprofits to receive the bulk of their funding, but we are seeing a decline in giving from households across America. Joining us today is the CEO and founder of Direct Relief, Thomas Teig. Thomas, how are you this morning?
Fine, thank you for having me.
So, thrilled to have you here because nonprofits and giving during the holiday season are so important. You know, it's not about receiving gifts, but how are you spending your time and your money? So talk to me about Direct Relief and what you do.
Well, Direct Relief has been around for 75 years. It's a humanitarian health organization that focuses on providing essential medication, supplies, vaccines, insulins to people who need but can't afford them in all 50 U.S. states and territories where we're licensed, as well as in about 100 countries around the world each year. So I think that's our focus is on health on a humanitarian basis, and it's entirely privately funded. So But it was born out of the, World War II, actually, when there were war immigrant refugees who made their way here. And what the genesis of Direct Relief was helping people who were caught in that moment of history of bombed out post-war Europe and used their own money and tried to engage businesses to step up to help people who were caught in that moment in history. And we still basically do the same thing.
I love that. Now, this is a very important time for you and for similar nonprofits as well. So what changes are you seeing in giving, and especially in this year?
I think we did a survey that had some findings that were not all that surprising, but good to hear that, there's increasing skepticism, erosion of trust in institutions that was detected in our survey. So people are more skeptical, at least, if not, again, sliding towards cynical. There's just less trust. Many people feel tapped out. They've been making contributions throughout the year. We've had a series of major events from, the wildfires in Maui to earthquakes in Turkey and Syria, the war in Ukraine, and now with the events unfolding in the Middle East. So I think, a lot of people said they feel tapped out. They feel much less likely to be able to contribute. And also generationally, just how people are receiving their information. People under 40 have reported that they tend to look to their peers or on social media as a validation for, what makes sense or good organizations or causes. And that's different than maybe the tradition where it was more traditional advertising or mail. I think a lot of that's changing a lot. So we're not sure how it's going to shake out, but it's helpful to know just what the moment we're in and what makes sense to predict as best we can how this year is going to shake out. But we'll see when it's over how it does.
Absolutely. Now, I love that you said the erosion of trust. I think transparency is key, and it sounds like you are really doing your best to really gain the people's trust back. Now, what types of nonprofits are givers most likely to donate to?
Well, I think, certainly event-driven donations, as we've seen, as we respond to emergencies and tend to have more profile during emergencies. So that definitely does drive contributions. And unfortunately, those mask things that are important every day. So there's as many causes that there are people's concerns, and it ranges from animal welfare, environmental, or homelessness, or arts programs, or after-school sports, or feeding programs. And that's really a very personal decision, and no one can tell you what to care about. That's a deeply personal, emotional decision. Our general advice is that once you find something that speaks to your heart that only you can do, it is worth engaging your head too and looking for which organizations who are working on that cause are doing a good job with your money. And for that purpose, you can look at these independent rating organizations like charitynavigator.org, which is independent. It's a watchdog organization, and it scores and grades nonprofits like Direct Relief. And charitywatch.org, it's the same thing. They have different methodologies, but that's helpful to make you feel even more confident that if you find a cause that you care about, that your money will serve its intended purpose.
I love that you use the phrase watchdog, and I think just the transparency there and knowing that there's an independent third party that can give you advice on where to go and to follow your heart, just like you mentioned. So where can we go for more information?
Well, if you're interested in Direct Relief, we have 75, probably more information than you'd ever want, but it's directrelief.org, and we have, try to do everything I just mentioned about our organization and values and work. But CharityWatch.org and CharityNavigator.org are the independent groups that just serve as a watchdog and a consumer protection sort of agency on behalf of the public. That's their sole mission, to inform the public, to help steer and inform their charitable giving choices.
Wonderful. Well, Thomas, collectively between you and I hope that we drive people towards giving versus receiving this holiday season. Thank you so much for sharing more information and just being transparent about how you can really give to a nonprofit that I guess plays to your emotions. Thank you so much.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me.
Well, Welcome back. Do you guys know what a Gen Nexter is? I'm not sure I do, but up next, Kimberly Perot sat down with a representative of Edward Jones to talk about Gen Nexters, what that means, and how it is impacting people's financial futures.
We love financial advice, and you can never be too young to start. I have a great conversation with Julia Bartok of Edward Jones about the Gen Nexters, who they are, what they're doing, and where they stand financially. Julia, how are you this morning?
Good, Kimberly. How are you?
Doing well. So tell me a bit about the Gen Nexters. We've heard of Gen Z, Gen X. Tell me, what is a Gen Nexter, and what are they doing these days?
Yeah, this study was performed to gain a deeper understanding of what matters most to Americans considered in this emerging adulthood life stage, which are those ages 18 to 34 years old. This group of more than 76 million Americans, which we're referring to as Gen Next, they're the youngest adults, and they represent the next generation of workers, consumers, and investors.
And so 1 in every 10, based on this survey, have paid off their debt of some sort and are really more focused on the everyday budget. So, what are the assumptions about today's Gen Nexters and what they're doing?
This study challenges many of the popular assumptions about today's young adults. Despite many stereotypes, Gen Next, they're hardworking, they're ambitious, and they're navigating the uncertainty that comes with this life stage and the social and economic challenges of today. Despite being born in the digital era and portrayed as happiest on their devices, Gen Next are happy homebodies, with more than half reporting they feel most fulfilled when spending time with family and friends. They also desire for in-person connections, with nearly 2/3 preferring personal face-to-face interactions where it's naturally easier to share, and they really value the trust that's built from those in-person interactions. Finally, despite common misconception, only 20% use social media or influencers as sources of financial guidance. Gen Next are information omnivores. They seek trusted information, expertise, advice, and guidance from everyone.
I'd say I definitely understand wanting to have that conversation in person, because you can ask questions off the cuff and not have to wait for a response and things like that. So what is a Gen Nexter's approach to work and finance?
Employer loyalty is a lot less important to this group, and the career ladder no longer exists. Instead, we're calling it the career pogo sticks. They are highly mobile, and they move from one job to another. Gen X are also comfortable wearing multiple hats, with many reporting having side hustles to fund their expenses outside their core basic needs. Only 1 in 10 associate a career with success and achievement. Gen Next, they want flexibility in where and when they work, and they're open to non-traditional career paths. So naturally, this group will have diverse financial needs when it comes to how they save, they spend, and invest.
That's so interesting. 1 in 10 actually sees financial success as a career path and a career choice. And so where can we go for more information, or if we're looking for our own financial advisor?
To learn more about Gen Next and this research, or to find a local Edward Jones financial advisor near you, visit edwardjones.com/financialfuture.
Well, Julia, loved all of the facts and the details that you shared with us, and how you're helping to defy the assumption of the Gen Nexter. And I know we definitely would love to see them be financially smart, as they are the foundation of our future here. So we appreciate that. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
This weather report is brought to you by Sun & Ski Sports, your new mountain sports headquarters.
that's all the time we have for this Sunday, November 19th edition of Wasatch Weekends. I hope you'll tune in tomorrow for our Monday episode where we're going to talk a little bit more about avoiding holiday stress, and we've also got an artist spotlight focusing on a local contemporary painter. Until then, I'm Ben Roof, this is Wasatch Weekends, and I can't wait to see you tomorrow.